All right, grade 6. So today for science, we're going to keep moving on with how much water is in the world. On Tuesday, you did the exploration. We came up with a couple ideas, and today we're actually going to do the math and figure out how much water is in the world. We're going to compare salt water to fresh water, and we're also going to calculate frozen fresh water. So I'm going to run you through a couple of videos from the Ministry of Science website, talk about a few things, and I'm going to show you what you are expected to do, and I'll give you some tips, and then you can get started on your assigned pages. So at the beginning of class, I told you which pages you had. And then if you get finished early, you can always do any of the extras if you have access to the other pages. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen. We're going to watch this video to start together.
In today's activity, you're going to figure out how much of the Earth's surface is covered with water and what kind of water it is. By that I mean, you'll look at how much area of the Earth is covered with liquid fresh water, like lakes and rivers, how much area is covered with frozen fresh water, like the ice at the North and South Poles, and how much area is covered with salt water, the water of the oceans. You'll use that information, that data, to make a graph that compares the areas covered by each. That'll let you see how good your guess was. Now, if you were to really add up the area of water for the entire planet, that might be a lot of work, but there is a way to simplify things. You can divide the world up into lots of smaller pieces. Let's zoom in on one of those pieces. This one shows the continent of North America. To simplify things even more, you can put a grid of squares on top of each piece of the map, like this. Why put squares on the map? Well, the squares can allow you to estimate how much area is covered by each kind of water. To make it easier to count a square as water or land, we did a little adjusting. So if a square was mostly water with just a little bit of land, we made that all water. And if a square was mostly land with a little bit of water, we made it all land. That creates a map that looks like this. I'm sure you can still recognize North America. Here's the US state of Florida. Here's the US state of Alaska. Here's the country of Mexico. Now, we did this to the whole world and made the different types of water different shades of gray. By making the map all these nice square edges like this, you can see that that makes it easier to estimate how many squares are fresh water, how many are frozen fresh water, and how many are salt water. Okay, so get started. Each person will get one part of the map to count. Oh, and if you're working by yourself, that's no problem. You can count a couple of maps and then check the answer key to get the count for the other maps. All right, time to figure it out. To get started, follow along step by step.
All right, so you guys have all been assigned 2 maps. And like I said before, if you get done early, you want to try some more, you can pick any of the others, and then we can just double check with each other to make sure we got accurate answers. This might not be loading, but don't you worry. Okay, so first step, find a partner. We are working alone, so no need to worry about that. As far as your supplies, you'll need your 2 maps.
Students, get your supply.
You'll need your 2 maps and then just some paper to calculate on, or you can just calculate off to the side here. That's up to you, okay? Or you can calculate on the back. If you were not able to print this off, that is also okay. You can look on your screen and just try your best to get an accurate count. If you're on your screen, it's much harder because you can't cross things off, you can't write on the paper. So just try your best to get as close as you can to the correct number. I don't want you to strain your eyes by looking really, really hard at a screen for a long time. So just try to get close. And if it's really far off, I have an answer key. We can make sure we get an accurate number. Okay. So
Look at your map.
What we're going to do next. I'm actually just going to quit sharing this screen with you, and I'm going to share a different screen with you, my dock camera, and I'm just going to go over some things with this. Let me make sure you can see that. I recorded this once before and it shared the wrong screen, so I gotta make sure this is right. Okay, yes, you can see this and I can see it. Okay, so I'm gonna do map number 1, and then everyone else has been given a couple maps to do on their own. Some of you are doing the same ones. Those we'll just double check and make sure we got the correct answer, okay? So the more people that do the same map, that's actually better. We can get more information and compare and make sure our data is accurate. So let's look at the different things here. Down at the bottom or somewhere on your page, they all look a little different because they have different shapes. You have a key. So on the key, it tells us that black is the freshwater, white is the frozen freshwater, and then this little symbol, the gray with a white circle in the middle, is salt water, okay? If it is crossed out, that means it's land. We don't need to calculate those at all. So you're just gonna calculate these three. So the first thing you need to do is just count, all right? I'm gonna show you one trick you can use, or you can just use your finger and count along. I might be out of the frame for a second so I can write, but what I want you to focus on is my paper here anyway. So, of course, you can just go through and count. You can cross them off as you count. Or I noticed that since these are all squares, I see a lot of rectangles. So what you can do is draw rectangles, as many as you can fit, and find the area of those rectangles. So let's do one right now. I see a big rectangle here of frozen fresh water. So I'm going to outline those. There's a rectangle, right? And to find area, I know I need to do length times width. So I can count my boxes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I just need to multiply those. 5 times 7 gives me 35. So I know there are 35 squares right there in that box. Then what I can do is find all the other rectangles. There's one there, smaller one here, smaller one even here, and a tiny one here. And I can find the area of each of those and then just add on my extra 2 dots. So let's see here. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 4 times 5, 20. 1, 2, 3 times 1, 2, 3, 4 gives me 12. 2 times 3 is 6. 2 times 2 is 4. Then I have 1, 2 extras. So we can add those all up to see my frozen fresh water. Let's see. 4 plus 6 is 10. 10 plus 12, 22, 42. Then I can add my extra. 43, 44. 44 plus 35 gives me 79. Let me make sure I get in the right spot. Okay. So 79 frozen freshwater squares. Then you're going to do the same thing for my salt water. And then I just have a few frozen, or not frozen, fresh water, the black ones. So I'll have to calculate those 3 and make sure you get them in the right spot. Now, after I calculate those 3 numbers, count them up, I need to divide them by 50. First, let's discuss why we're doing that. When we make our bar graph, I'm going to use sticky notes to represent each category of water: fresh water, frozen fresh water, and salt water. I already have 79 squares for frozen fresh water, and there are 17 more maps. So if I were to just do one sticky note for one square, I would not have room in here to even think about sticking sticky notes up the wall. We'll go all around the room, right? So we are going to scale it down. One sticky note is going to equal 50 squares. So that is why I need to divide my number by 50 to figure out how many sticky notes I get. All right, so I'm going to jump down to 5 here because I did frozen fresh water up here. I have 79 squares of frozen fresh water. Now I need to divide by 50. I can only get 50 in there once, so that means there's one sticker and we have a remainder. Remainder is just the leftover. You do not need to turn it into a fraction or anything. You just need to write the number left over, which is 29. You're going to do the same for all 3. Once you finish one map, you can hop to your second map And if you have a lot of free time at the end of class, once you've finished grammar and lookbook as well, you can go through as many maps as you want, and then we can get lots of data and make sure we have the correct answers. Okay? So I think this shouldn't be too difficult for you guys. It's just some math combined with some science. It's not hard math, but just the counting might get a little tiring. So I don't want you to strain your eyes too much, like I said before. If you need to take a break, look away from the screen, please do. Okay? So now, once we get all of that information, we will meet back together. I don't think we're going to do it at the end of class. I think we'll wait till Monday class at the beginning, so we have more time if you need it, and we will make our bar graph, okay? So that is it for science today. You just need to calculate your maps and find those answers, all right? I will see you soon.